Hello, and welcome to Healers Enlightened Network. We are so honored to have you with us today, and we have a special guest, Wendy Watson. This is webinar 116, and Wendy is going to teach us about long distance reflexology. And the theme this month, of course, is the strength that holds us up. And remember, the strength comes from many places within us, but our feet are vitally important to make sure that we walk that smooth transition. So learning about reflexology long distance is absolutely amazing. So as we start all good things, let's please bow our head and give thanks and praise and harmony for us all being so grateful to be here today. Thank you. Thank you. We are very blessed. We have 15 archangels with us today and all of your guides. So, Wendy, if you could please tell us about how you started this and all about you and long distance reflexology. Thank you so much for being here with us today.
Vote. Probably about 7 or 8 years ago, I was at the London Body, Mind and Soul Fair, and I heard the African drummers calling me. And I went across this huge auditorium and finally got to the guy drumming. And the memories of me working with the Sangoma as a child, and also being a healer in many lifetimes came flooding back. And I just stood in this busy hall, sobbing my heart out with absolute joy of this memory. And then the path from there, really, I started training. I'd already been a reflexologist for, I have now been for the last 19 years. But that path towards the more shamanic and energy healing was really awoken at that time. And so I started training with the African shaman again, but soon realized that the energy wasn't quite right because I'm now living in the United Kingdom and the plants and the animal medicine is so different and the energy is different. So I went back to my roots, to my Celtic heritage, and trained with a local Celtic shaman. And it was during this training that distance reflexology sort of kicked me in the face, really, and said, hello, as the energy do. And so our teacher was, we were learning to do distant healing, which I'm sure everybody's familiar with. We've all done that. You know, a friend or relatives not feeling well, we say, you know, I really wish you well. I'm sending you good wishes. My thoughts and prayers are with you. So we are all healers and we all send that intention, which is really what this is all about, is intention.
Right.
And it was during one of our training sessions, we were all given an envelope marked A, B, and C, D. And we had to connect to the person whose name was in this envelope. And our teacher started drumming a journey for us. Off we went down into our trance-like state. And I was sort of sitting there and not even my guides turned up. And I was starting to panic, thinking, now what? And then this pair of feet just presented themselves right in front of my face. I had to sort of step back a little bit. And of course, I instantly knew, this is the client that I'm supposed to be working on. So being a reflexologist, I could see visually, and I'm also a foot reader, so I can immediately see which areas may need a bit of work. And I could then go in through the feet into the actual body. We are 3D, you know, time and space does not exist when we are working in this energy. And into the body, do what I need to do, change it, fix it, lighten it up, and then come back out through the feet. So the feet has always been my gateway, if you like. Some people might use oracle or tarot cards. Other people might use Reiki symbols. Mine are the feet. That's my way in. to understanding you and reaching your soul. So literally soul to soul. So that's really how I first stumbled upon distant reflexology, and didn't really think of it. But I would, whenever I was giving distant treatments, distant Reiki, I would always start on the feet. Even hands-on Reiki, I never start on the head. I always start on the feet.
Yeah.
My teachers have always said to me, it's because you're from the South, you're upside down. But I've since realized, that's just my portal. That's how I first started. When I mentioned this to other reflexology colleagues, they all thought I was a little bit woo-woo. And the argument was, well, then that's energy, it's not reflexology, and that's impossible and all of that. So I kind of backed off, and I thought, okay, maybe they're not ready for that. And then in 2020, the world went into pandemic, and suddenly people were ready to see this and accept this and go, actually, yeah, this is possible. And I think with everything in life, where there's a need, suddenly things are born.
Yes.
And so it's been a huge privilege to be able to share my techniques. I suppose I should have made my fortunes, but I'm really working with spirit, and that was the journey I was given. This is given to you from source, and you need to share it back out in that way.
Amen.
Now, of course, since then, neuroscience have caught up with us. And I find this incredibly exciting and fascinating, that neuroscience is starting to just touch the surface of what we already know. And we're marrying ancient wisdom with science. And how exciting is that? Because we can prove what we already know. So for all those skeptics out there, we're like, yeah, that's okay. It might sound woo-woo, but here's the science that we have behind it.
Yeah.
So part of that neuroscience is quantum physics. That's coming on leaps and bounds, and that can literally prove that the electrons interact with atoms within the universe, and this goes on to infinity, to beyond what we can possibly imagine, and then beyond that. So it really is sort of mind-blowing stuff. Now, this helps us to connect. And when we start to connect, whether that's physically, whether that's psychically, emotionally, that's when the magic starts to happen. Okay. So another theory that I came across, which I wanted to share with you in terms of, putting a foundation under there, there's something called the 100 monkey theory. And that is, in the 1950s, it was observed that a certain number of monkeys had learned new behavior. And the new behavior would inexplicably spread across the waters to other monkeys on a nearby island. So how did this get to the monkeys? And of course, when I work with clients in distance, I tune into them and communicate with them from an energetic level. So that's sort of a bit of science, really, that I wanted to share with you. But as we know, everything is energy. When we rub our hands together, we can feel the energy. I'm getting really hot. As soon as I start working, I start getting really, really warm because it starts flowing, which is handy when you live in a cold country.
Sorry.
I do appreciate what you
Thank you. Needed that today. Bless you.
So that's energy that we're picking up. So So that's kind of the background of it all. But how do we actually do it? So as I say, in April 2020, the UK went into lockdown. I'm sure most of the world did. And there were so many people just spinning, and therapists spinning and saying, oh my gosh, you know, my livelihood, what about my clients? Many therapists lost their identity because if I'm not a therapist, who am I?
Right.
So there was so much that came out of that. And so I started sharing how I do distant reflexology. And so how that works is, Petra, you sort of mentioned something a bit earlier about voodoo dolls. Yeah, I don't actually use dolls or feet, but some people prefer to use mannequins or training feet. Some people use their hands, some people use their own feet when they're actually giving it. But if I backtrack right to the beginning, so the first thing I do is obviously, I'm assuming we're all therapists here, so we prepare the space, cleanse our space, prepare ourselves, ground ourselves, open up, ready to work.
Yes.
So once that's done, we then have a moment in meditation. And how we get there is either through meditation. I get there through drumming. A specific drum beat helps us to journey to the other worlds, which then helps us to connect to the energies. It also puts us into a very quick theta state. And when we're in that deep theta state is what helps us to go into deep meditative state. And when we're in that position, we are able then to still be conscious and focused, but be able to connect. And off I go, and I travel to my client wherever in the world they may be and connect to them. And I imagine that they are on my couch as if they would be face to face. I ask for a photograph before and after. This is really for research purposes in my mind. I don't need to see that, but it's really interesting to see, and it shows as evidence to myself and to the client afterwards as well. And I'll talk about that later, but if I forget, remind me.
Okay.
So off we go, journey, we connect to the client, and then I perform the reflexology as if, as I say, they were on my couch and I was literally pressing their feet and every organ, working their body. Now, sometimes I may also deviate from that because as therapists, most of us do more than one modality. So not only am I a reflexologist, I'm a Reiki master, I'm also a shamanic practitioner. So I work with crystals, I work with animal energies, I work with plant medicines. So I might invoke the energy of those, whichever crystal I might need, or Bach flower, or plant or animal, I might call upon those as well. Or the angels, the ascended masters, the ways that you may already be familiar with. And I might incorporate those techniques within the treatment. At the end of the treatment, I like to disconnect, so make sure that you're fully disconnected, and close back down, reground, and I also make sure that my client is back in their body. That's really, really important. When you're working hands-on, the very fact that you're touching somebody's feet is grounding. So because I can't actually touch them, we need to energetically make sure that they are back in their body. So you need to do a bit of a body scan there. And also at the end, I sometimes give my clients a ring and just make sure that they're okay and find out how they experienced it. And, you know, what did they see? And it's really interesting because I've had people who are complete skeptics and who don't see energy or work with energy at all. And suddenly they're asking me, who was that lady in this shawl? Or, do you know, what happened? Why was there a wolf coming here? And, and all these, oh, I saw this color. And, oh, that's great, because that's what I was projecting. So, so that's interesting. The other interesting thing that's happened, one of the biggest ones really, is I had a lady whose husband videoed the entire treatment. So she lives in Australia. I'm based in the UK. Connected to her husband started filming, and you could actually see thumbprints in the skin. So, if you press your skin, it changes color. And you can actually see on the video where I'm pressing, even though she was in Australia and I'm in the UK.
No way. Wow. That's kind of scary almost.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Phenomenal. And also she had cellulitis. Now, I didn't do a case history with her before. I literally just connected to her, and I felt, her feet were so swollen and her legs swollen. And I just started working the lymph, doing what I needed to do. And, by the end of it, her feet were sort of normal size. I'm saying that in inverted commas, normal size. She put shoes and socks back on for the first time in sort of 4 or 5 months, having had the cellulitis. And the healing lasted for a week and a half. Now, when I've worked hands-on previously with people with cellulitis, or people undergoing cancer treatment, and they may have had any swellings. Hands-on treatment is very powerful also, but in my experience, the longest it's ever lasted is about 3 or 4 days before the swelling starts again. Whereas with the distant, it was so powerful, it lasted a week and a half. So
that's what I heard. Remember, I was mentioning the voodoo, the acupuncture voodoo. I read that is actually more efficient than the physical one, because I don't know, for some reason there's less of the I don't know, in between, the what stands in between, and the energies are flowing more directly. So I could imagine how it's the same with your work. Wow.
Yeah. Well, I think the reason for that is that we are so focused that there's no room for any interference. We are only humans. So as a therapist, of course, when I'm working hands-on, of course, I'm connected to my clients and I'm focused on them. But because I'm human, my mind wanders. And so I might see a cobweb, or I might think, oh gosh, I mustn't forget to put the rubbish out, or, feed the cat, or whatever it is that's going through your head. Whereas when you're working distantly, whether that's Reiki, acupuncture, reflexology, crystal healing, whatever modality it is that you do, even massage, there's such intense concentration that they're getting a very quick, sharp blast of that energy. The other thing that I also noticed with that is that, especially as a foot reader and a visual reflexologist, I am already, my eyes are making judgments already, or they're making assumptions already. And so therefore we sometimes get a blinkered view of things, whereas if we go in blind, we are really feeling our way and we are trusting the energy that's coming rather than what we are seeing. And sometimes that can give us a different perception, if that makes sense. Yeah.
A lot of sense. And I feel like this is now just opening a whole new world for me. I can't be it's also because I had a massage today, with this like really good lymphotherapist that I'm also, you know, a lot of my clients go there because if there's like a lymphatic issue, like a physical thing can actually do a lot more than, it seems like there's like a point where physical lymphatic drainage will do more. But now I'm thinking like, what if I learned to do this long distance? Maybe I could.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Wow.
Not even could, can. You can.
Wow. Wow.
Whatever modality you do, so what treatments do you offer?
I'm emotion code and body code based, but I'm going beyond that and adding a lot of my own stuff. So let's say I'm adding like these sections like of problems. Like I say, I have a lymphatic problem or like fatty liver problem, or you know, like gut brain axis problem. So you know, I'm as opposed to sometimes working with like particular imbalance, I try to also locate the specific problematic part. You know, but it's like energy, like energy block imbalance removal based. Yeah.
Okay. And do you do that hands-on through like a massage or a?
No, everything is distance. I did the first level Reiki, which I love, but I never used because I'm so, you know, so much using, just like used to using my own system, and I based it on dowsing, so I'm making these charts.
And so that's exactly the same thing. So you can do your modality through distance in exactly the same way. It's, as I say, it's thought and your intention that creates the results. And if you've already got Reiki behind you, you know how to connect. You understand that. So you're already 1 foot up, if you like. So always a reference to feet. Sorry.
So exciting.
What about you, Paula? What treatments do you do, and you know, how can we help you to do that distantly?
Oh, well, it's fantastic. What you are telling us, it's amazing. I'm doing emotion code. I do body code also. Distance always is distance. And what I'm doing is something that I study a lot about energy medicine. All this work of Donna, Eden, and Prune, that I love it, and it connects me in the way that, for example, when I'm working with someone and I feel and my intuition guides me that it's a good exercise they can do for themselves, I explain them how to do the exercise. But something that I have started doing, and I'm seeing that with intention, it works. It's working for my clients. For example, when I energy test that a meridian is not happy, yes, with emotion and with body code, we can help the meridian to be happy, to have the good energy. Something I'm new that I am doing is like, when I can feel that a meridian is not happy, with intention, I am visualizing and I'm tracing the meridian backwards in that person. And then 3 times with my hands, I go and I do it like the energy flow of the meridian 3 times. I mean, and I'm doing this and I can feel it. I can feel the energy so much in my hands. I'm not a Reiki master. I haven't studied Reiki, but very soon I'm starting Reiki classes, because it's something that I feel like in my guidance, that for me it's good to learn.
Yeah, I think you're already doing it. I think I don't need any training, but of course, you know, we love learning. So, and don't get me wrong, I love Reiki, but for me, it's only one language. It's only one set of symbols. So, what I would say is, don't get hung up on just that, because there's much, much more. That's just a foundational space. You know, I use African symbols, I use Native American symbols, I use Celtic symbols, you know, animals, angels, they've all got their own symbols. So why do we only need one set? Like, wow, there's so much more, you know. So, but yeah, good luck. And I think you're already doing the distant work anyway. So, you know, thumbs up, you know, yeah, great. You're already doing it. Love it. I
Thank
can't
you.
teach you anything, you know, you can probably teach me your method. So I think it's fantastic, and how wonderful COVID has given us this opportunity to be able to work in this way, which is, it's opening up channels and showing us, as I said, you know, the Reiki is only a beginning. There's so much more energy out there. And suddenly people are able to see that and accept it without saying, oh, you know, you're witch or you're woo-woo or you whatever. You know, it's just part of life now. It's part of the norm, and I'm just excited about that. It's brilliant. So yeah, excellent. Well done. I'm happy to take any other questions or anything else you'd like to know on here. So just ask away, guys.
Okay. I've been doing reflexology probably, I mean, not steady, for 35, 36 years. But when I started, they didn't have per se classes. Are there classes to get certified to be a reflexologist, or after doing it for this many years, we can just do it by the grace of God?
So interesting questions. So that's come up with me a lot of times. So I think this goes worldwide. You do need to have certification in order to be insured. And also there are many governing bodies. Now, whether that's with Reiki or reflexology or shamanic or massage, all the different modalities. And during this lockdown, it's a big discussion I've had with many people. Is this a money-making racket? Who are you to tell me? Because the governing bodies have said to me, sorry, but you're not a teacher. You haven't got a degree in teaching, and your course is not approved by us. So therefore, we don't accept it. And I said, but who are you to tell me that my guidance from source is not correct? And that I am not good enough for you. Like, okay, you know, that's up to you, but I'm going to go ahead and do this anyway, with or without your blessing. So I'm not sure if that really answers your question, but it is a discussion that's come up with many different groups that I've been speaking to. And the thing is, just with reflexology in the UK, there's probably 4 or 5 different governing bodies. There's many different reflexology charts, and that's just within the UK. If I look at South Africa, I don't know if you know Chris Stormer, Christine Stormer. So she had the same encounter, and all the governing bodies are saying, oh no, you know, who are you? And so she set up her own. She was like, right, I'm going to do my own thing then. And now they all beg her to be on their team. I mean, with the distance reflexology, very interestingly, so all the insurance companies within the UK that we use, they've all said, yeah, that's fine. If you're a reflexologist and you have proper reflexology training, recognized training, then you can do distant reflexology. However, you cannot send it to anybody in the US because they might sue you. I don't know. So, I mean, I've just ignored that because I just thought, well, this is stupid, isn't it? And I think very soon this will just be blown out the water, because I think it's all just that old energy and that old... I don't know, it's an old masculine energy, which it's time for it to dissipate.
Amen. So everybody over there has to be insured. So Peter, are you insured too then?
No.
See, I'm not either.
No, because
Paulo, are you?
Like, if the thing is, if you're working with clients from so many different countries, which I am, I don't know what insurance really does for you. You know, I mean, I feel like I would just be, you know, throwing money down the drain.
Right.
To be
That's
honest.
what I felt, because the one that Dr. Brad suggests is over $6,000, and I think you have to pay that yearly. And then the other one is almost, it's over $2,000. So it's
my view of that is that it's important that you work on yourself, that you attract the right kind of clients who are not going to be vibrational match to, you know, like suing you, and and that you know, you only are able to actually attract people who are going to be grateful for your work and have benefit from. So I think instead of, you know, putting money to someone, like to a third party that will benefit from it, you know, invest in yourself, in your training, so you're better for your clients, and you vibrationally lift yourself. So that's my view.
That's beautiful. Thank you. That's what I've done.
Good for you.
And I go against the grain and swim upstream many times. There are certain things, you know, I can't work at, say, a fair. You know, if I go to Body, Mind and Soul fair, they won't let me in without insurance.
Oh, wow.
So you've got to kind of play the game a little bit, but energetically, I don't agree with it. But reality, if I want to work, you know, having said that, one client in 19 years has ever asked me, are you insured? And not one client has ever asked me to see my certification. And I've been on lots of courses, you know, just on Reflexology alone, you know. So nobody's ever asked, what are your qualifications? You know, as you say, vibrationally, they connect with you, and the right people over the years have come and have synced in with what I'm going through. Isn't that wonderful? As a therapist, we can do that.
Yes.
You know, when I have a daughter who's autistic, and so when I first was starting to understand that, and I started learning more and did loads of reflexology courses, because I thought, well, how can I help? What are my skills to help? And okay, reflexology, let's find out more. And did more and more research, created my own courses on it. And so we grew together, you know, and the clients that came, they were mums in the same situation as me. And, you know, it's just wonderful. As you experience situations in your life, so the same clients come, and that enriches your experience on this earth time. It's wonderful and such a privilege, isn't it? So to do what we do. So
it is. It's a blessing in so many ways. So many people, you know, we have a lot of naysayers, and we'll all come across naysayers, but if it comes from your heart and your soul, that's all that matters.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And that's where you should be working from, not from your ego. That's not going to get you anywhere, but that divine guidance bringing you through what you need to do for each and every soul to make them the person they need to be. So I'm going to remind you about the picture. Having a picture before and after.
Having a picture before and after. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Yes, and that goes back to the video that I was telling you about. It's really nice to have those images, so before and after. I don't look at them until I've finished, and then have a conversation with my clients, and I'm taking some case notes, because quite often they will forget that they had a pain, or they had, I don't know, you know, swelling or whatever. Their feet may be really red and sore and tired when they first started, and then at the end you can see the color change. And so that's really, really nice to show that. So you've got that evidence. And for those skeptics out there, you're like, well, you know, you don't have to, you know, seeing is believing.
Yes, yes.
We can't see energy, we can only feel it.
Right.
And so I always say to people, you know, I can't explain to you what I'm doing. You just need to experience it. And then once you've experienced it, let's give you the evidence so that you can't argue with me any further, because skeptics will try to argue.
That is too funny. That is too funny.
My husband is a solicitor, and when I first started doing this, he also said to me, oh, Wendy, you're going to be giving yourself a really bad reputation of being like totally nuts and too out there. But okay, if you want to give me a treatment, that's fine. And he said, well, I'm watching the rugby. So I said, yeah, that's fine. And so he was sat in the lounge watching rugby, and I went, I've got like an outbuilding, and I went to the outbuilding and I gave him a treatment, and he said it was so intense that he had to stop what he was doing. And he said, I could feel you pressing, and I could feel, I could see the dimple of my skin going down.
Oh, that's amazing.
So intense.
Wow.
And then he slept. He fell asleep towards the end, and he slept. And probably until, this was about maybe 11 o'clock in the morning. And he probably slept until about 7 o'clock that evening. He was totally wiped out. He needed the rest. He was very tired. He needed the rest. And he doesn't normally sleep well. So that was a huge healing bonus.
That is beautiful. Now, do you go through and like with certain areas, like under the heart, where you bring your thumbs through, and do you do all of that, or do you start at the top and go to the bottom?
So yes, I do the full reflexology routine, if you like. And I have many routines because I'm trained in different reflexology modalities. So, you know, if you were doing cancer and palliative care, you might do it slightly differently. Or if I'm doing functional reflexology, again, it's a different routine. But generally, yeah, so, you know, starting off on that solar plexus, starting off really just connecting and just getting them used to my touch, even though that's air. You know, my daughter calls it air reflexology. She won't let me touch her. Being autistic, she doesn't like being touched. But I can do it in the air, and that in her energy field, and she can feel that, and she'll be like, oh, there, you know. So that's the first thing I do. So just connect, and then starting on that solar plexus, and then starting on the toes, really feeling, and the whole brain, and doing it all. So I imagine, as I say, the feet are in front of me, and I'm doing it in the air. Sometimes I'm just doing it in my mind. Sometimes I might grab a physical crystal and really imagine that I'm, you know, connecting that. Sometimes I might just grab the energy of a crystal. So, you know, I might just know that they need a bit of rose quartz, or they need a bit of clear or tiger's eye, whatever crystal they may need. I think, oh, okay. And I just think about the energy of that crystal, and then just tap into it, take it, and then just give it to that client. And then it doesn't need to go into a specific space. It can just go throughout the body.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Because I don't know. I'm only a human.
Amen.
I'm like, okay, this is a resource you're giving me. I'm tapped in. I'm working with universal energy that knows a lot more than I do. So take it where it needs to go.
Yes.
As much as a person needs.
Yeah.
You know, so so that's kind of the way in which I do it. Some people, as I say, they might use you can get like foot models that you use for training. So they might do that. I have done it in a group situation. So I've had a group of people. I've not done more than 10 because I like to make sure everybody's back, and I'm looking after holding that space. But you know, potentially you could do it for millions really in one big conference. And I've done it in a couple of ways, so intentionally, but I've also guided them through a meditation. So they've been lying down and imagining they're on my treatment couch. So we set the scene. And then normally in a meditation, you'll say, you know, you're walking along a path and you see the trees and whatever. I'll be saying, okay, so now I'm starting to work on your right big toe. You can feel my thumb going over the surface of the toe. I'm working the whole brain area, and so on and so forth. And we work through the whole body system in that way. So that's another way of doing it. There's no right or wrong, is there?
No,
It's
there's not.
you just go as you're guided. I don't do a phone call. Some people, you know, you have your allotted appointment and then you connect through Zoom or you know, with technology, and then that way your client can see you, and you might use a teddy bear as a surrogate. I think they teach that in Reiki, or your feet or your own feet or your own hands or whatever, and talk the client through it. I prefer not to have technology interfering with the energy, but that's just me. And I just say to people, you know, you've got to find your way and do it your way, because there's no right or wrong. This is just a guideline.
Right.
You know?
Right. And we all make it to fit what works best with us.
Exactly. What works for you. So
each client is going to be different anyway. So with reflexology, it's really going to be different.
Yeah. And it's working a specific, you know, that specific modality. So as I say, although sometimes I do maybe work a little bit more shamanically, I might go in through the feet into the actual physical body, 3D vibe, and work. Other times I might just give, you know, classical reflexology, just working the surface of the foot, which, as we know, connects to all the organs and structures of the body anyway, and it works physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. So you don't need anything more, you know. It just depends on what the client, what I feel the client might need, or what they've asked for, you know. And within the reflexology modalities, I might be doing the metamorphic technique, or which goes from conception to birth. So anything, and along the spine reflex, so anything you may have felt as a fetus. So if your mum maybe was sick throughout her pregnancy, you come to this life with a phobia of sick, this is where it comes from. It stems from your mother's fear. Or, you know, maybe she fell, or maybe it was a difficult birth, and whatever it may be. We don't always need to know the exact information to know that there may be issues in the tissues. All we need to do is say, okay, we recognize that you're there, and we would like that space to be cleared, and to fill that space with love and with light, so that you don't need to live in the fear or have those phobias anymore. And this technique goes back. It's not just you know, whatever your mother was experiencing and thus you experience as a fetus, but it can also go back 7 generations or more. So it's really good for clearing ancestral stuff. So that's just through reflexology, and all I will be doing is working their spine for 30 minutes, and you know, what comes out is huge. You know?
Right. Now, some people I have talked to they do it with just dry skin. Others use essential oils. How do you like to do yours?
So I use a beeswax based product, which is sourced locally. And there are some aromatherapy oils ready made within the mix. And I specifically use this product because not only is it all organic, but it also it's a small business within the UK, and they also help women who have been abused, and they train them up as reflexologists and aromatherapists.
Oh, beautiful.
So that's what I personally use, and the little bit of extra money that I pay goes towards their charity. So I'm kind of paying it forward in that way. When I'm working remotely or distantly, sometimes I might use some aromatherapy. Quite often I love using herbs and for sacred ceremony, and so I might start off with burning a bit of sage. I might end with some Palo Santo, or sometimes I might just maybe burn some rosemary. I had a client with dementia recently, and I was just burning a bit of rosemary for her, and she smelled that. Even though it was distantly, and she was in South Africa and I'm in the UK, people can smell the herbs through the energy field. I can't explain that, but they can smell it, and I specifically blow it to them.
Beautiful.
They smell it and they're like, "Ooh, what was that?" I recognized the sage, but I wasn't really sure what was the other herb that you were sending me. So when I talk about sending plant medicine, that's one of the things that I like to do. So actually send it to them.
Right. That's a good idea. That is a great idea. I've done it with essential oils, but I've never thought about the actual plant. That is awesome. Thank you.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. Yeah. As I say, sometimes it's a burning, like the dried herbs, but sometimes I get fresh herbs from the garden and just crush them. So you've got that smell in your hands.
Mm-hmm.
So
and then that just goes
onto their skin distantly.
Right. That is beautiful. With intention, we can do anything.
Absolutely anything. There's no stopping, is there?
No, there's not. There's really not. There is not. So how do we get appointments with you to have this experience? And do you teach reflexology?
Yeah. So I don't teach reflexology, but I do. I am putting together an online course to teach distant reflexology, although that would also be open to other modalities. So long as you're qualified in your modality, the same principle would apply.
Oh, beautiful.
So
send that to us. We would absolutely love, ladies, wouldn't you? We would love to. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Where can we find out about it when it's ready?
So I'm in the brink of filming and putting PDFs together for people. So I just want to make sure that that's right. I've been under a lot of pressure this year to do it. I've just been offering free videos to people, but I'm putting that together. So it is on its way. So watch out for it. In the meantime, my website is alltheww's.wendywatson.co.uk. So that's all the W's, Wendy, W-E-N-D-Y, Watson, WATSON.co.uk.
.uk. Is the UK, that's capitalized, isn't it, the UK?
It's actually all in lowercase.
Oh, all in lowercase. Oh, okay. Okay.
All lowercase. And on the website, you will see all the modalities that I do. And you can book a distant online treatment through that as well.
Okay.
And also follow me on Facebook. It's Wendy Watson is my personal page, and if you on Facebook, you'll find me, Wendy Watson, and then I have a business page called Wendy Watson Healing, which you can link to from my personal page, and also I have a Facebook group called Distant Reflexology. So if you would like to join that, you're more than welcome. And on there, I've offered various videos, meditations, bit by bit of what I've been doing since lockdown, which brought me way out of my comfort zone. I'd never been on Facebook Live or any of those things. So I'm a real technophobe, and
That's all right. So my Paula's getting me there. God bless her soul. I don't know how many times, Paula, I messed it up again. How do I do it again?
I actually did my first live recently, but it was within a closed group. It's actually a UK-based business club that I joined. It's like marketing. It's really great. I think, Wendy, if you ever are in need of such services, it's amazing. It's called Hardy Business from the Heart, and it's aimed at, you know, our kind of people. And what they did was they did a weekly challenge, and we all did lives the whole week, like once a day. But it was within a closed group, so we were able to practice. So.
Oh, that is cool.
Yeah, that was fun because I would never dare to do this on my own, like to just like pull a first move, but that was like a safe space to do it.
Well, maybe you can come and join Paula and I, and we'll get you going.
Whew, okay.
I mean, the Akashic Records told you may need to teach. I mean, what a better place to learn where you're safe.
Sure.
And we love you, and we know you're awesome at what you do, and we give you the love and the vibrational energy that you need to go forth to go do it. Come with us, be live with us.
Sure, you know, yeah, let's talk. I'm happy.
We do a lot of stuff.
We'll talk.
brilliant, brilliant, well done. And isn't it also another thing that's happened in this lockdown period? I, for one, used to be a very, lone wolf. I'm happy to run with a pack occasionally, but I'm really a lone wolf, and I have been all my life. And during this lockdown, in fact, just before that, I started collaborating with more people and really calling to my tribe and bringing everybody together. And it's been an amazing journey, and so wonderful to find like-minded souls.
Amen.
And collaborate and run networks, and it's just fantastic. And speaking to people from around the world, because that gives you so much more perspective.
Oh yes, because everybody has their own niche and can bring their energy to it, and we can all learn from each other. That's why we like in one of our little templates, or whatever you want to say, it's healers helping healers, because that's what we do, is to help each other grow. It's not about us personally. For me, it's not. For me, it's to allow everyone to come to their height where they need to be, because everybody can soar. I was always told I couldn't soar, I couldn't do anything, but everybody has wings and everybody can fly, and they can fly as high as they want. There is no stopping anyone. They could just
and definitely, and I think it's through that support that so many of us are coming out, and so many of us are being brave enough to speak our truth.
Yes.
It's wonderful.
Yes. And that is a hard faction for many people. It is.
Yeah.
But this does bring us together more, and that's why we're trying to build our little hen network up, so we can get more like-minded to bring forth more learning and for everybody. That's why we want so many people like you that are so honorable in what you do, that you are just so, I mean, your aura is so gorgeous around you. You have no splotches, nothing. It's just beautiful. And that is just amazing in itself. But to bring that vibrant energy to us and share it with us is our true honor. And we thank you for that.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. It's always an honor for me to meet new people. So.
It's our pleasure. We love it. It's not exactly what I thought, but it's even better.
It is.
I don't know if that's possible, but it's even better.
I went into panic mode when you said, "Do you need a presentation?" I was like, "No."
Well, some people do. Some people do, and sometimes I feel it's just better to do what you did, from the heart, from the soul. That's where it touches. That's where Paulo and I have been talking about planting seeds. And you planted some pretty big ones today.
Brilliant. Perfect time of the year. We're in the springtime.
Amen. Yes, that's what we were talking about. Plucking them up later. Yes.
Yeah. So many people, I do laugh, like in January, so many people are running, goal setting in January, and I never do that. I always run mine in March, April. Yes. This is a perfect time to sow your seeds and then watch them manifest as the year progresses. So
yes.
If you are planting seeds, if you're in your garden, don't just plant the marigold seed. With each seed you plant intentions for other things going on in your life, whether that's your network, whether that's your business, your family, your friends, whatever goals that you have, each seed, literally plant that intention with each seed and water it and let it grow. And so that's like a physical thing that you're doing on one universal plane. And then the rest of the universe will incorporate that and
Amen.
make it happen.
I've never heard it done like that, but that's beautiful. That's even easier than what I was doing. I made it really complicated.
Just planting all those seeds. Beautiful. Yeah.
We are so graciously humbled. Thank you so much. Do you ladies have any other questions? Comments? Anything? Then let's bow our heads and let's give thanks, if we may, please. Heavenly Father, we are so graciously delighted by you being present with us and bringing Wendy to us. We thank you for Petra and Paulo to be here with us. We thank you for your guidance and your love and allowing each soul to grow as we, through you, touch them, for they can grow. Allow these seeds to flourish in your holy name. Amen.
Beautiful.
Lovely. Wonderful to meet you all.